Yo, yo,
What's up, man?
how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, man, I wanted to connect with you real quick, kind of go over everything that I've got going on.
hmm
Um, so I am on level 4 of Wealthy Affiliate right now,
hmm
and kind of running through that because it's all about social media. There's 10 levels total, and I think I made a mistake with how I've been kind of approaching the course.
hmm
So one of the things I did with SEO affiliate domination is I went and watched the whole thing before I took any action, right? And then I went back and brushed up on the stuff that didn't make sense for me. And
hmm
then I immediately jumped in, and therefore I was able to make a sale within the first 90 days if you're counting exactly when I first opened the course or whatever.
hmm
But shorter than that, obviously, if we're considering when I actually wrote my first blog post. Um, So one of the things I noticed with this one is that I've been kind of herky jerky, where it's put out a whole bunch of content, watch one lesson, put out 2, 3 posts, watch a bunch of content and a couple posts, and that doesn't work for me. So I kind of figured that out the hard way. I like to go head first. If I read a book, I read the whole book in one sitting. If I write all fucking day. And if I'm learning, I learn all day. So kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. If you know identify with any of that stuff, and kind of talk about that, because I think there's a lot of people who struggle with that type of understanding themselves and how they learn and how they work. So I actually wrote about that on the blog, um, to try to help folks. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way you approached like my course, that's how I kind of digest information too, because I that's kind of why it took me so long to like get to where I'm at because I I know I didn't have to know like all the pieces of the puzzle, but it frustrated me that I knew I didn't. And like I knew that there were answers to the things that I wanted to know, and I just didn't know them yet. And so I I wasn't. I mean, some of the products I bought and tools I bought over the years, they were kind of wasted money. But I don't know. Sam Ovens kind of talks about this in one of his videos, and it's I've had this understanding for a long time. It kind of goes back to like I don't know if when you were a kid, did when you learned some like boring stuff in school, did your parents ever tell you, well, you never know when you're going to use that information one day? And it was like, yeah, but it's like, history from 1700 or something. Like, what? How am I going to use that in life? And and most of the stuff you don't use, but with like this internet stuff, it's kind of true. And I just sort of learned to appreciate learning new things, anything, several years ago.
mm,
And what Sam was talking about was like the difference between like kind of like small goals, which you can separate into tasks, because you know exactly how to get there, and you can just assign tasks to achieve that goal. And then your big goals, which like you've never achieved before, so you don't even know how to get there. And
mm,
the way that you get there is probably going to be just this crazy journey. So don't like know where you want to wind up, but don't beat yourself up about how you get
mm,
there, because you'll get there, and it may. And he was saying that because a lot of times some of the things that he does and some of the things that I expose myself, they don't really make a lot of like logical sense, because they don't, like if I want to make $1 million and I want to do it with like SEO, then reading a book on like, I don't know, psychology or the history of the world, it doesn't make sense. But like
mm.
exposing myself to that random information, it can give me like new ideas that I wouldn't have gotten
Right.
if anyway. So that being said, that's I consume information the same way. I try to that, and that I think I mentioned that in the beginning of the course. It's like go through it once just to digest it all, and then go through it the second time to actually take action, so that you can know the whole picture. Because it I'm somebody that hates to go back and fix things.
Mm,
Personally, like I would rather make a new something than to fix the broken thing. A
mm.
lot of times, unless it's a relationship, that that's worth fixing. But like if it's a site and I don't know, like if you follow along and you figure out, oh, I probably should have used like this plugin, it would have made everything look prettier or something from the beginning. Yeah, it's a little frustrating to me. So I don't like to go back and fix things like that. And you might have gotten that insight if you went through the whole thing to begin with. But like, I don't know how long that Wealthy Affiliate course is. If it's not like insanely long,
Yeah, it's pretty long.
sure. But if it's something that's super, I still would approach it that way. Like me and Kevin are going through these little authority site courses, and one of them's kind of long, but I'm taking it, day by day until I do go through the whole thing before I ever implement any of it.
Okay.
I want to consume the whole thing first, but
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. There's a side of me. I think everybody struggles with this duality. There's a side of me who feels lazy whenever I just sit and watch a course, and
yeah.
then I feel like that anxiety, and then I'm like, fuck, and then I wake up at midnight and hammer out 2 blog posts so I can feel okay about my life and shit.
I would just say the first pass, since you're probably just absorbing it. I kind of kick myself for not doing this a lot of times because we only have a limited amount of time on this planet, and it's kind of, I think it's a waste of time to go back and do the whole course again.
Right.
Like starting brand new and stuff. So like maybe that first time, at least maybe jot down some notes so that it's not like, oh, I forgot everything I just learned or whatever. Just at
That's
least,
exactly what I did with your course. Yeah.
okay, yeah, have some notes to save yourself some time that next time around, so you don't. I don't know. You get the gist of the videos that you watch and stuff, because I just don't think we have enough time in this lifetime to go back and go through, let's just say it's a 20-hour course, to do that for everything.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not enough time. Like, you got to be more efficient than that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No, that's cool. I just wanted to kind of talk about that and record it because I think as I make this blog, I want to make it more and more helpful and just kind of have, the affiliate links here and there, but really have it to be, people are coming back for more and more and more because of the quality of the content and subject matter that doesn't really get talked about too much.
Yeah, and I going back to your point of feeling like lazy and stuff, like I've heard Tim Ferriss talk about this, and then this other black hat guy that I interviewed in the course, he mentioned the same thing. And it's like, like for instance, the black hat guy, he's got this strategy that he's teaching in that video. And it took him a long time to test it and test it and test it, like months and months and months to test it and refine it. And now he just implements that strategy that he's now refined. So he's like, a lot of people, think that, all this money just comes out of nowhere, but he's like, it took months and months of testing. So it's kind of on the surface, it seemed like things were dormant. I'm not, raking in the dough because I'm testing this thing for months and months and months. But now that I've got it, he's making like $1,000+ a day, and he's just gonna ride that out until that goes away and cash in as much as he can. And then once that's done, he'll find something new, and he'll have saved a lot of that money to give him a cushion to find the next thing. And that's kind of how he approaches things. And Tim Ferriss said something about that I really like, because we can kind of get burnt out with business and stuff. And like Russell Brunson has a little video about this, about taking vacations. And like, when entrepreneurs take vacations, a lot of times we're not really on vacation, because we're always like plotting and scheming and stuff. So like we're in Hawaii, but we're like thinking about the next big thing. We're just in a different location. And sometimes our like spouse or whatever, they can see that we're not really there but present, because we're just sort of like always just thinking and planning. And I totally identify with that. But what I like about Tim Ferriss, what he mentions, thinking the 4-hour work week, but some of his podcasts and stuff too, is he likes to work really hard, but in like sprints. So maybe for like, 12 weeks or something, and then give yourself a break, and then like work really hard and then give yourself a break. Cause you can't pull all nighters every night, but
Right.
like, if you're going to work hard for a small season and then accomplish a goal, then like, reward yourself after that, maybe take a trip just to reset and then come back and like attack the next problem. So I really like that approach, because I don't really believe there is such a thing as really work-life balance, but I think for me, that's as close as I could probably get.
Yeah.
Just, you work hard and then give yourself a reward, give yourself permission to relax and stuff. But like, for me personally, I can't speak for every entrepreneur out there, but like my mind, little marketing mind, it never turns off. So
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about opportunities and stuff.
I'm the same for sure. Man, that's so spot on. So right before I jumped on this call with you, the reason I didn't see your message was I was reading a book by Stephen Pressfield called Turning Pro. And it's the same dude who wrote The War of Art, which is like a cult classic type of thing. But he talks about people struggling with this unknown, unseeable, evil force called resistance, and it keeps you from writing that book. It keeps you from starting that business. It keeps you from doing all these great things that you could do with your life. And it comes up in the form of addictions, bad habits, social media addiction, stuff like that, right? And I was reading and I was like, dude, this is so spot on to really what it takes to be professional, right? So I got like some Amazon gift cards for Christmas, because people don't know to give me anything. I tell my family, don't buy me anything. Like Christmas is for kids in my mind. Right? So they gave it to me, and I ended up buying these sheets that I've been looking at for a long time. So this is Best Self Code.
Yeah.
You've heard of that. I think her name is Kat Howell or something like that.
Yeah.
But they have like a planner, and they got a weekly deal, and then they got like a project. And I wrote down everything for this blue highlighted text and working with you, and like have it all really like super organized. So I felt like that was the best $70 I've ever spent, because I got all their products that they had. They had 3 different products. And yeah, man, it's like I knew I was trying to step into this realm of like really just taking stuff to the next level and like leveling up in general. And like you said, you never know what that route's going to look like. But I should be able to knock out 14 blog posts pretty easily if I just follow my plan.
Yeah, like my reading list for this year so far, I wound up purchasing like 12 books last year, and I never read them. So I was like, well, I'll try to give myself the task of reading 1 book a month. And I was like, well, there's my 12. They may not be the best ones or whatever, but I need to read them, and they're just taking up space. And so those are at least going to be the ones I start with. So they're not all about business and stuff. So whatever, I'll get whatever I can get out of them, and that'll be that. But,
Yeah.
yeah. Cause like, I don't know, all my little crazy ideas and stuff, they're not just like a result of watching, Tony Robbins and whatever self-help videos and stuff like that. Some of it's just random information, or maybe like you go to Barnes and Noble and you go down like an aisle that you don't normally go down, and you pick up a book, and I don't know, that sparks an idea of a random niche, and you're just like, just like talking to my friend Brian Reese, who has the VA claims thing, making millions of dollars a year, and it seems to be one of those perfect little gold mine niches of lots of demand, not enough people to fulfill that demand, high margins, low competition. And I'm just like dollar signs, you know. So, so I'm gonna take it. You know, I'm gonna probably me and Tyler are gonna like create our own little product and site to get some of that traffic, because he even said it himself. He was trying to sell some of his leads to another guy that does helps people with VA claims, and the guy was like, he was gonna give him like a mug or something, a free mug for every like 20 clients, and he was like, but each one of these clients is going to be worth like, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. You're going to give me like a mug for every like 25. I said, that's like 6 figures. Like, you're crazy. And he was like, my point is, I don't need your leads. I already have too many. I can't even fulfill them. And so that just kind of was a little aha moment for me. Just little things like that, like conversations with people at like IMP or something, you know, they may just accidentally slip you a little gold nugget when they have too many drinks, and you're like, let me check out these mattresses. And then all of a sudden now you're making thousands of dollars from one tip.
That's so cool. How do you feel about the Mattress Space, man? I just became an affiliate for Lisa from like, I want to say 30, 45 days ago when I filled out the application. They just hit me back.
Yeah, I mean, my results have gone down a little bit, probably because I'm splitting like most of it with Tyler, and then Kevin's there, and then it seems like everybody's jumping on it in the group. I don't really feel that that's the reason why my sales are going down, but they are a little bit. But I think that it's still a really lucrative niche to be in. For this year, probably next year too. I just think there's plenty of opportunity to make at least like 6 figures to anybody that wants to really go at it really hard.
Right.
Because there's so many brands and they just keep popping up. And so just I don't know, for the traffic alone, and I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. And like mattresses is just something that people always need. I think I don't know who's ultimately responsible for making mattresses, you know, sexy all of a sudden, but I thought, you know, mattresses were always a niche that was always extremely boring. Like, I don't want to go get a new mattress. Like the least, you know, the thing that I want to do the least is go to the mattress store. Like, but these brands, I don't know, they've made it like fun and sexy and cool to get a mattress. So I thank God for that. That's cool. And it's something that, you know, everybody needs, and they're not super duper expensive either. Most of them. So I don't know. It's a cool kind of evergreen niche, and I'm sure the brands will change. I'm not, I don't know. The way I see it going down is that some of these brands, they're probably going to get like, I feel like they're just acquiring customers so that they can sell their brand eventually. Like, I don't know the numbers of some of these older brands like Sealy and Ashley and stuff, but I would imagine, since they've been around longer, that they have bigger, you know, pockets than some of these newer brands that are popping up, even though they might be generating millions a year. So I would think it'd be in the smart for brands like Ashley and Sealy and Serta and stuff to buy these brands. And I would think, yeah, if I was these brands like Nectar, I don't know when, but I would imagine they would eventually sell to some of these bigger brands. That's what I would do. But
interesting.
They just, you know, prove their that I don't know, validate this product, and then flip it. I don't know. Just that's how I see things going down. But
yeah, that's super interesting. I think the reason that I really got interested was I did a whole bunch of keyword research yesterday, and I just told myself I'm going to do all my keyword research for the week in one day. So I just